Hi there. So I want to give you a quick overview of the kinds of things you're going to want to do with your essay. And I'm going to use some examples drawn from the free writing that students did, and hopefully that will make sense to you so you can go back and look at those. So let's see. First of all, essays all have an introduction, a body, and a conclusion, a beginning, a middle, an end. Nothing super revelatory there. So, but it's more about what should we do in these introductions, bodies, and conclusions. Well, the old way to say things is in the introduction, you tell them what you're going to tell them. In the body of the essay, you're telling them what you're telling them. And in the conclusion, you tell them what you told them. In fact, I was given this advice as a graduate student, and it was utterly useless. So I want to help you out, I hope anyway, a little bit more, though the main idea still holds. So your introduction needs to create the context for what follows for the body of the essay. You need to introduce the topic. And so, and you also in that introduction want to give some sense of why the particular topic matters. Now, a couple of people, maybe more than a couple, are writing about handwriting letters. And penmanship is kind of a lost art. People wonder, why do I have to still learn cursive, that kind of thing. Well, that might be the approach you would take. But since these people are writing about the pleasure, the benefits they get in that, that's probably not what they're going to do. So what would their introduction look like? I could imagine an introduction that says something along the lines of, more and more we're worried about computer literacy and keyboard skills, and enabling young students to do their best work on computers through that keyboard. And because of this, we don't much focus our efforts on handwriting, on cursive, on penmanship. And if you're promoting that, you might think, well, this is kind of a sad state of affairs, and that we are losing this. And in fact, if somebody cares to look this up, recent research shows that there is a lot of evidence showing the benefits of learning to write longhand and cursive. So especially with promoting brain development. So anyhow, so you might talk about, anyway, that would be it. You would talk about writing out stuff becoming a lost art and setting it up, and then you would have a thesis statement that says, really, it's so much more worthwhile for us to keep writing letters because they have a much more personal, emotive connection for the reader of that letter from the writer. And so it's much more personal and personable than receiving an email, a text, or what have you. Not that those things are bad, just that letters provide things those things can't. Okay, and so that kind of rambling a little bit would need to be focused and refined, but set up, and it would set up a discussion of letter writing. Now, I can remember all kinds of people doing all kinds of letter writing. Some people mentioned writing to parents who were in prison. Some people, I can't remember all the others, just writing to a grandmother and that sort of thing. And so the body of the essay is going to tell the story of writing, ideally, one particular letter to one particular person at one particular time. That would be the best focus. Whether that will provide enough information, enough content to flesh out a full essay is hard to say. But my advice would be for anybody, whatever you focus on, whether it's a texting situation, a Facebook situation, a FaceTime situation, anything you want to focus on, if you can narrow your focus down to one event, one particular time, a highlight or a low light of using, FaceTime, Facebook, Skype, whatever, you want to do that. You want to have that narrow focus that you can flesh out. So if you have to go to two events, that's okay. Three, you're stretching it, getting into covering too much ground and not covering it well enough. So see what you can do in that regard. Finally, you want to have a conclusion, and the conclusion should make it so your essay doesn't just stop and run out of gas, but it should actually conclude, create a sense of finality. Going with this letter idea, going with anything in general, I say the conclusion is the last chance to get readers to see things your way, to see the validity of your perspective, just to see that there is value in what it is you think and you are writing about. And so how do you do that? Well, it's okay to restate your thesis, nothing wrong with that. It's okay to restate the major points, pieces of evidence you touched on there, that's fine, but don't stop with that. From there, you want to, generally speaking, make it clear, why the heck should anybody care about this? What's my last word in getting people to care about the writing of letters, and why maybe they should start writing letters, or they should at least really appreciate the people who do write letters, or whatever it is you want them to come away with. But and one way to do that is to plug it into that broader context. For instance, I mentioned earlier that a lot of brain science studies show that writing longhand really is good for building synapses in your brain. It's basically good for your brain. It's good exercise for your brain, more so than typing and such. So there's that kind of thing. We all need a little more humanity in our life, a little more compassion. And I think the same words sent in a handwritten letter are going to be more meaningful for the most part than an email, than a text, that kind of thing. I mean, that's obviously not 100% true all the time, but a note to people is in ink and paper that they can hold in their hand. There's that tactile experience that is real. Your handwriting, my handwriting, is not any particular font. It's not Arial or Times New Roman. It's your handwriting. It's you. You make your letters how you make your letters. And so there's a lot more humanity, I think, in a handwritten note. And so you would play up that notion of, the world needs more humanity today, and that would be the point you drive home in your conclusion. So give that some thought. There is no one way to do any of this, which is true of all writing, but do what you can with it, and we'll see how things look in the draft stage. And we got our first formal draft coming due Monday at midnight, and we will just take it from there. So if you got questions, get back to me. Bye-bye.